Hello gamers, Aaron Shack here. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I believe is the best FromSoftware game, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. If you haven't played the game, or if you're on the fence, or if you've put it down over frustration over the combat changes relative to the other Souls games, or if you found the game too difficult, I'm here to argue the case as to why you should give this game a fair try. Timestamps will be in the description down below. One thing we should start with is the incredible music, both heard at the title screen and throughout the game. I should also mention that this game was the 2019 Game of the Year at the Game Awards. This game has great dialogue with other characters, and both the Japanese and English voice acting are incredibly well done. There's lots of cutscenes. This game wears its story on its sleeve. It's often more clearly explained than other Souls games are. The story is much easier to keep up with thanks to a more traditional and straightforward storytelling mechanism. You won't be searching online, listening to hours of YouTube videos, reading item descriptions to figure out what's going on in this world. It's all pretty straightforward for the most part. There's lots of Japanese supernatural forces and spiritual elements that take place in this game. So it pulls from some really cool Japanese lore, which I really enjoyed. This is some of the basic combat here. You can see I'm parrying the first attack and then getting a death blow, which is the red circle, and allows me to immediately kill the enemy. The game also features beautiful scenery that I really enjoy looking at and exploring all the locations. This game also has stealth, interesting traversal using ninja abilities and shinobi tools, whether it's the grapple, shurikens that can be thrown at enemies, or the fireworks. You can get stealth kills on enemies from above. There's aerial combat as well as ground combat. And there's no variety of weapons, essentially. You're stuck with the singular katana here that we use throughout the game. But that is ultimately a good thing. Sekiro focuses on sword combat, and that's probably for the best, because as you'll see in this fight against Gyoubu, one of the early boss fights in the game, trying not to spoil things here for you guys. Sword combat being amazing, and the parry system that you're seeing, every time I parry at the perfect time, I get what's called a deflection, and you'll see orange sparks fly. So I'm simply timing my pressing of the left bumper with the attack as it connects to me. And once I do that, I'm able to parry the attack, which actually deals sort of a damage to the posture bar. Now, the posture bar for the boss is the orange bar at the center of the screen at the very top. The orange bar at the bottom of the screen in the center is my posture bar. So both of our postures can be broken with enough relentless attacks. I can regain my posture by holding LB, which also happens to be the block and parry button. Doing that is key, because if the bar gets full, I'm open to some serious damage. And for the boss, when their bar fills up, they are open to this, the Shinobi Death Blow, which goes through his first health bar. I regain any of my resurrections, and I also gain a little bit of health back. You can see I'm using some pretty endgamey attacks here, the double Ichimonji, which I'll talk more about in the video. But yeah, you're seeing that I'm blocking and parrying rather than running away, dodging and rolling. Sekiro is about getting in there, getting into the combat consistently, knowing when to block, when to attack, and in rare occasions, when to dodge. But this game varies drastically from the Soulsborne series trope of rolling around endlessly, trying to dodge everything, and looking for that one opening where you can sneak up behind the enemy and attack their back legs. So even though this guy is rather large and on horseback, it's still a fair fight because I'm able to block, parry, and deflect his attacks, which deal damage to his posture. If I attack him, it damages both his health and adds to his posture bar. It becomes more difficult for him to regain posture the more damage he takes. And that goes the same for me. So you can see I have defeated him. But now I'm going to continue rolling some more attempts that I did against Gyoubu. This combat to me became so addictive that I really wasn't able to put the game down. The great feeling of breaking someone's posture and getting a shinobi death blow, defeating a difficult boss, and discovering which attacks had to be dodged or parried with precise timing is what makes this game so fun. And even if you're watching someone play this game, it makes it action-packed and really enjoyable to see someone that's skillfully parrying attacks rather than running away and dodging endlessly. You're seeing here that I'm able to figure out when I can punish Gyoubu after he does a couple of attacks and his spear gets stuck in the ground. I can get a few slices in. Or after he's done a significant amount of attacks and I've worn him out a little bit, he needs to take a breath, and I can use that to get in and attack as well. So the combat is very dexterous. Some attacks like that, the Mikiri counter symbol comes up, and I needed to dodge it. That's what that red Japanese character was that came up on screen. Some of those, with precise timing on the block and parry button, will allow you to Mikiri counter the attack and deal some serious damage. But the risk of you not getting the timing right could potentially cause some serious damage to your character. So, as you can see, I missed that attack right there, so he was able to get me. So that was a Mikiri counter where I should have jumped rather than trying to parry it. So you can't just sit there and mash the parry button the entire time, but you can see me doing that at times because I'm wanting to not only block and parry attacks, but also regenerate my posture bar at the bottom of the screen, so that he cannot catch me in a state of weakness. Now, when I have low health like I do now, it becomes slower to regenerate my posture. And he's able to knock me down with relative ease. So advantage is given to those who parry versus running away and dodging. And once the combat clicks with you, it can become very addicting. It can become fun. It can become challenging but enjoyable. And using the prosthetic gadgets in this game, like the fireworks or the flame vent or the shuriken, can be incredibly useful. As you can see, I deployed the fireworks and the horse reared up on its back legs, which allowed me to sneak in some extra attacks. Knowing which attacks and what elemental damage you can deal to enemies is either learned by researching that or experiment with the boss. So death is also not the end for your character in this game. As you can see by those pink circles, if I'm killed, I can come back to life. I can resurrect. And we'll talk about that as I do one more fight against Gyoubu. So we'll see during this fight, I make a mistake and I am killed and I am able to be revived. So that means, you know, whether you're in a boss fight or traversing the game fighting simpler enemies, death is not the end necessarily. And so unlike the punishing Souls games, this game will give you chances to make mistakes, or if you really need a second chance, if it takes all of your health bars to defeat a boss enemy, then you'll have it. So now I'm landing some perfect deflections, seeing those orange sparks fly, and taking advantage of any chance I have to get an attack in. And I use that chance to grapple. The Ichimonji, double Ichimonji there that I used, actually allowed me to regain posture while dealing massive damage to him. So we're seeing his posture bar is nearly full, and if I were running away and dodging and stuff like that rather than aggressively blocking and parrying and attacking, he would be able to regain his posture and I wouldn't have any sort of advantage at this point in the fight. So with his first health bar gone, we can continue the fight. So I drain my posture bar a little bit so I can have some stamina to block some more attacks here. I dodged that as I should, took advantage of the grapple, but here he's able to catch me. And this is where I'm able to choose whether I resurrect myself or just give up and try the fight from the beginning. So it is now my last chance to defeat him. If he kills me now, it's over. But like I said, if I were to get a death blow on him, if he were still on his first health bar, I would have a chance to regain my resurrections and get some health back as well. And I jumped there while he was dragging the spear, so he couldn't connect it into me and drag me along and deal most certainly massive damage and maybe enough to kill me at this point. So that was a good evasion. Used the fireworks, distracted the horse, took advantage of the damage, but then I got a little greedy, so I got punished. So now that I know his attack scheme, I can pretty reliably block and parry most of the things he's throwing at me. And I'm not even incredibly skilled at this game, but you can see I'm doing quite well on these 3 attempts here against Gyoubu. Now, as we've defeated Gyoubu again, I'm going to show you the skill tree and how we level up in the game and some strategies you can use. So you can explore the game world and farm kills on enemies to level up and gain skill points to purchase things on these various skill trees, which will unlock special attacks, allow you to throw shurikens in midair, increase the amount of shurikens you can throw, and also the Ichimonji attack that I'm showing here that deals posture damage but also recovers posture damage for me, makes it one of my favorite attacks to use in the game. So there were many times for me where I felt like I needed to go out and level up a few times before I continued further with the game, and I have no shame in doing so. In this clip, I'm fighting one of the hardest bosses in the game, Genichiro. Okay. He's about halfway through the game, and less than half of the community has actually unlocked the achievement where they have defeated him in this fight. And so, because of the heavy focus on sword combat, because of this game having the best sword combat in the game ever, the actual clanging of swords, the actual blocking, parrying, and deflecting on both sides of this combat makes it exciting to watch, exciting to play. And as you can see here, I'm able to block his lightning and send it right back at him, which even I'm shocked that I was able to do it. And then I was able to somehow dodge it during the double Ichimonji and punish him enough to win the fight. And every fight I've won just leads me to the next one. I always think, hey, I beat this guy. It can't get any worse than this. I can handle anything this game throws at me.
Genichiro, Ashina! Woo!
So the celebrations are well worth it.
Oh my god, we got him.
So in conclusion, Sekiro is really about understanding how the combat works and embracing all the mechanics, enjoying the beautiful scenery, culture, and storytelling, and triumphing over one boss, leading into the next one, taking time to understand their weaknesses and finding an opening to attack them and defeat them. It's a delicate dance. A lot of people categorize this game as a rhythm game, but I feel like that denigrates it by comparing it to something like Guitar Hero or Dance Dance Revolution. But much like Kung Fu and fighting, this is a game that makes art out of sword fighting. It's a game that I find enjoyable to watch, fun to play, and has given me some really great, gratifying feelings at every challenge that this game has thrown at me, and I've been able to overcome. And if you're on the fence, hopefully this video has convinced you in some way to give it another try. See if it's a game you can enjoy, and if the combat didn't click with you before, maybe watching this video and listening to my explanations of how things work were helpful. And honestly, me recording this video, I've been on a break from playing this game because other games came out, so I haven't finished this game. But getting in and fighting Gyoubu a couple of times and instantly just falling right back into that beautiful addictive combat system has completely reinvigorated me, and we'll be finishing our playthrough of this game soon. So I want to thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful or informative, give us a like. If you'd like to see more Sekiro content, you can check out the Sekiro playlist that is in the description down below. I have my part-by-part playthrough. I've also taken each of the boss fights and clipped them into short clips. So if you want to see me triumph over each boss, or if you need to see what sort of strategy I was doing at the time to be able to defeat any of these particular enemies, you can see that there. So once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.